Hello and welcome to High Voltage Engineering. We'll be talking about a generation of high voltages and currents. So continuing from module 2.1, we will be talking about generation of high direct current voltages. Okay, so in the previous class we have talked about the generation of DC voltages via rectifiers. Okay, now in this class we'll be talking about some other methods of voltage DC voltage production. This type of circuit is called a voltage doubler circuit. So on the right hand side you can see the structure of the basic simplified structure of the circuit. So both full wave and half wave rectifier circuit produce a DC voltage less than the AC maximum voltage. So obviously maximum when the rectifier circuit is on no load, the maximum voltage it can produce is the supply voltage itself, and when it is on load, the voltage offered by the rectifier is actually less than the supplied voltage. So both full wave and half wave rectifier circuit produce a DC voltage less than the AC maximum voltage. When higher DC voltages are required, a voltage doubler or cascade rectifier doubler circuit are used. It is nothing but a rectifier that are placed in cascade. You see, if you see the structure on the right hand side, and if you see this half wave rectifier previously shown, you'll see this structure is almost similar. It is just like one half wave is being added to the other half wave. The capacitor C1 is charged to the rectifier R1 to a voltage of plus V max, with the polarity as shown in the figure during the negative half of the cycle. So during the negative half of the cycle, the R1 rectifier is charging. So the R1 rectifier allows the current to pass through it, charging the C1 capacitor. As the voltage of the transformer rises to a positive voltage plus Vmax during the next half cycle, the potential of the other terminal C1 rises to a voltage of plus 2 Vmax. Okay, so when now during the positive half of the cycle, when actually the cycle moves to the positive end and the transformer slowly rises to the plus Vmax, the terminal voltage of C1 actually goes to before it was plus Vmax in the negative of the cycle. Now it goes to the positive of the cycle. The voltage goes to plus 2 Vmax. Okay. The capacitor C2 in turn is charged through to the rectifier R2 to plus 2 Vmax. Normally the DC output voltage on the load will be less than plus 2 Vmax depending on the time constant of C2RL and the forward charging time constant. The ripple voltage of these circuits will be about 2% for RL by small r less than equal to 10 and capital X by R less than equal to 0.25, where X and R are the reactances and resistances of the input transformer. The rectifier are rated to a peak inverse voltage of 2 Vmax, and the capacitor C1 and C2 must also have the same rating. If the load current is large, the ripple is also more. So you can see that the DC output voltage on the load will be not equal to 2 Vmax, although it's called a voltage doubler circuit. It is on the 2 Vmax is only obtained when this doubler circuit is on no load. Now obviously when you connect a load RL to it, the value will be lesser than the 2 Vmax, and it depends on the time constant of C2RL and forward charging time constants. So depending on the different time constant, the value of the output voltage depends. Okay, and even the ripple voltage will depend on the uh, reactances and resistances of the input transformer. Okay, now we'll talk about cascaded voltage doublers. So it is used when larger output voltage are needed without changing the input transformer voltage level. On the right hand side you can see the cascade voltage transformer or voltage doubler circuit. Okay, so the rectifiers R1 and R2 with transformer T1 and capacitor C1. Look at rectifier R1 and R2 with transformer T1 and capacitor C1 and C2 produces an output voltage of 2V. Okay, so whatever is the AC supply, let us say that the AC supply, look at the diagram and you can see the AC supply, whatever that the AC supply, the rectifier R1 and R2 along with the capacitor C1 and C2 produces an output voltage of 2 volts. You can see it has been marked as 2 volt there. Okay, this circuit is duplicated and connected in series or cascade to obtain a further doubling of 4 volt. Now the same circuit is being duplicated. You can see on the above the same type of circuit is duplicated and you will have an addition of one more 2 volt to make it a 4 volt. Capital T, which is an isolating transformer, is to give an insulation of 2 volt Vmax, since the transformer T2 is at a potential of 2 Vmax above the ground. So this capital T is nothing but an isolation transformer which acts as an insulation between the first transformer and the second transformer. The voltage distribution along the rectifier string R1, R2, R3, R4 is made uniform by having capacitors C1, C2, C3 and C4 of equal values. The arrangement may be extended to give a 6 volt, 8 volt and so on. So these are of cascaded voltage doubler circuits. Okay, it is 6V, 8V and so on. So it's not 6 volt, it is 6 times the voltage. Whatever voltage you will get, you can make it 6 times that. Okay, by repeating further stages. But you should have some precautions, is that in all the voltage doubler circuit, if valves are used, the filament transformer have to be suitably designed and insulated, as all the cathodes will not be the same potential from the ground. The arrangement becomes cumbersome if more than 4V is needed in the cascading steps. So these are the precautions. Now we will come to another topic called the voltage multiplier circuit. Now in the voltage multiplier circuit, the cascaded voltage multiplier circuit of higher voltages are cumbersome and require too many supply and isolating transformers. Here it is possible to generate a very high DC voltage from supply transformers by extending the voltage doubler circuit. This is simple and compact when the load current requirement is less than 1 milliampere, such as for cathode ray tubes. Valve type pulse generators may be used instead of conventional AC supply and circuit becomes compact. So in the voltage multiplier circuit, one thing is that it is only for the low load current requirement, that is around 1 milliamperes, and the valve type pulse generators may be used instead of conventional AC supply. Now on the right hand side is a voltage multiplier circuit. The pulses generated in the anode circuit of the valve P, look at the valve P here, you can see the valve P, this valve P is fed by the pulse generated in the anode circuit of the valve P are rectified, and the voltage in the cascaded is cascaded to give an output of IN into Vmax across the load RL. So the voltage is cascaded. That means you can see there are a set of diodes and capacitors that are in a particular sequence. Okay, that gives you the cascaded voltages. The trigger voltage pulse of the triangular waveform or the ramp is given to make the valve switch on and off. Okay, thus a voltage across the coil L is produced and is equal to Vmax capital I into root over L by Cp, where Cp is the stray capacitance across the coil of inductance L. A DC power supply of about 500 volt is applied to the pulse generator is sufficient to generate a high voltage DC of 50 to 100 kV with suitable number of stages. The pulse frequency is high of about 500 to 1000 Hz, and the ripple is quite low of less than 1%. The voltage drop on the load is about 5% for load currents of about 150 microamperes. The voltage drops rapidly at high load currents. So this is a typical voltage multiplier circuit. We have a pulse generator. Okay, the pulse generator is connected to a set of capacitance and rectifiers, which is fed to a load RL. Okay, now this valve switch is triggered by a triangular pulse generator. Okay, and the voltage across the coil L is equal to I into root over L by Cp. Now this one more voltage multiplier circuit is called using the Cockcroft-Walton principle. So this is a important principle. Questions come on this. So this on the right hand side, the image is the voltage multiplier using the Cockcroft-Walton principle. In the first stage, that is in the D1 and D2, C1, C2 and the transformer T are identical as in the voltage doubler. For higher output voltage 4, 6 to 2n, the input voltage of the input voltage V, the circuit is repeated with cascade or series connection. Thus, the capacitor C4 is charged to 4 Vmax and C2n to 2n Vmax above the earth potential. But the voltage across any individual capacitor or rectifier is only 2 Vmax. The rectifier D1, D3 to D2n minus 1 operate and conduct during the positive half cycles, while the rectifiers D2, D4 to D2n conduct during the negative half of the cycle. Okay, so this is a basic description of voltage multiplier circuit using Cockcroft-Walton principle. Now again we will show the different waveforms of the voltage multiplier circuit. The voltage of on the C2 is the sum of the input AC voltage VAC and the voltage across C1, that is VC1. So the voltage across C2 is the sum of the AC voltage and the voltage across C1. Okay, the mean voltage of C2 is less than the positive peak charging voltage VAC and VC1. The voltage across the capacitor C2 to Cn can be derived in the same manner, that is from the difference between voltage across the previous capacitor and the charging voltages. Finally, the voltage after 2n stages will be VAC into N1 plus N2 to Nn, where N1 and N2 are factors where when the ripples and regulations are considered for the next rectifier. So since these are in cascade, the voltage it will get will be the actual voltage multiplied by the different factors of the at every stages. Ripples in cascaded voltage multiplier circuit. With a load, the output voltage of the cascaded rectifier is less than 2n Vmax, where n is the number of stages. So if on no load, the voltage would be 2n Vmax, but during the load it will be less than 2n Vmax. The ripple and the voltage regulation of the rectifier circuit may be estimated as follows. With load, the output voltage of the cascaded rectifier is less than 2n Vmax, where n is the number of stages. The ripple and the voltage regulation are given here. Okay, so these are the different values or the elements that will be using in defining the ripple effect of the ripple effect calculation. You can see. So it is referring to figure 6.3a, that is this figure on the right hand side. When the load current I1 is supplied by a capacitor C2 to load RL, you can see on the right hand side the load current I1. Okay, check for the load current I1 is supplied from the capacitor C2 to the load RL during the non-conducting period. The charge transferred per cycle from the capacitor C2 to the load during the non-conductive period is T2 is Q. Let that would be Q. So I1 becomes dQ by dt or almost Q by T2. So what it means that during the negative half of the cycle, when the C2 is charging RL, okay, let that charging time is T2, and the total charge that is being transferred is Q. Okay, so the current is dQ dt, nothing but Q by T2. Since T1 is very less than T2, okay, T1 plus T2 is 1 by F, right? So that is F is the frequency supply frequency, that is T2 is 1 by F. Also Q is C2 into delta V. Delta V is the ripple, hence delta V or the ripple is I1 by frequency by F, that means I1 divided by F into C2. At the same time, the charge Q is transferred from C1 to C2 during each cycle, equal to I1 divided by F by C2. The total voltage drop will be I1 divided by F by C1 plus 2I1 divided by F by C2. Okay, so this is how you calculate the ripple voltage. Now hence the regulation is the mean voltage drop from 2 Vmax, which is nothing but I by F, I1 by F into 1 by C1 plus 2 by C2. Therefore the mean output voltage is 2 Vmax by the expression that we get previously. So for the cascade circuit on no load, the voltage stages are raised by 2 Vmax, giving an output voltage of 2n Vmax for n stages. So referring to figure 6.4b, that is given on the right hand side, the expression for the total ripple voltage, let it be assumed for all capacitances from C1 to Cn be equal to C. Let Q be the charge transferred from C2n to the load per cycle. The ripple at the capacitor C2n will be I1 by Fc. Simultaneously, C2n minus 2 transfer as the charge to the load and to C2n minus 1. Hence, the ripple of the capacitance C2n minus 2 is 2I1 by Fc. Similarly, C2n minus 4 transfer a charge of Q to the load C2n minus 3 and to C2n minus 2. The ripple at the capacitor C2n minus 4 is 3I1 by Fc. Proceeding the same way, the ripple at C2 will be Ni1 by Fc. Hence, for n stages of the total ripple peak to peak will be I1 by Fc into n plus 1 by 2, and the average ripple is I1 by 4 Fc n into n plus 1. The major contribution of the ripple is from the lowest or the ground end capacitor C1 to C4 etc. Ripples can be reduced if the capacitance of the capacitor is increased proportionately. That is, C1, C2 are made n, C3, C4 are made n minus 1 C, so on, that the total ripple will be equal to Ni1 by Fc. Okay, so this is how we calculate the ripple for the cascade voltage multiplier circuit. So this is the end of the lecture. Thank you.